Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press TV Hangouts. I am your host, Diego Crespo. No face again today. Internet connection still not great, but that's all right. Also here is my lovely cohort, Emily Sophia. How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty smashingly, feeling the Luke Cage hype for tomorrow. So that's kind of where my one-track mind is headed. But yeah, so I can't really complain.
Yeah.
Lots of exciting things coming around.
Yeah, we'll have thoughts on that next time, whether or not we're completed or otherwise, just generalization thoughts, and then eventually a nice spoiler-filled discussion, just like we've done with Daredevil seasons and Jessica Jones, because these things usually turn out pretty well. So,
Yes.
uh, in the meantime, we have other Marvel shows to talk about. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which returned with an introduction to the new Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, and Last Man on Earth, which returned for another hopefully great season, because the third season premiere was just as hilarious, awkward, and dark as the rest of the show. So why don't we dive into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. first, because there's a lot to unpack here.
Yes.
The first episode is The Ghost, second one, Meet the New Boss, and I'm still not entirely sure why we need a new boss at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. Like,
Right.
if I'm just being honest, I guess just to mix up some drama a little bit, which sure, why not? I guess. But as for the rest of the stuff, there's a lot of like disparate storylines and like weird magic, mystical, supernatural stuff seeping in, and also robots. So it's
Yep.
like it's kind of all over the place, but like in a really fun, interesting way.
It's
Like
a smorgasbord, all right. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet of weirdness right now.
yeah, and
That's
that
how
that
I feel.
gives it like a really fun vibe, I think, because it's really comic booky now. Like we're in the first season, they're like, oh yeah, it's like it's kind of there, but not really. It was more like a family spy show, and now it's like, oh yeah, the first scene is like a close up on Daisy Johnson's butt for some reason. Like I
Yep.
know they have a new time slot and everything, but I was like, hey,
Like, all right now,
what is,
simmer
like, yeah, like, calm down, man.
down.
And then the next scene involves like Ghost Rider ripping out a man's spine and blood splattering all over the side
That
of a
totally
van.
caught me off guard. I had to say, like, I was watching with my mom and dad. Love the show, so I went over to watch it with them, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is how it's going. Yeah, caught me off guard.
it's it's a little shocking given the nature of the show and like it's the use of violence before. Like it was a fun adventure show. Now it's like murder, flaming skulls. It's like whoa.
Yes, I feel like it's almost a little bit Doctor Who-ish right now. That is the predominant feeling that I walked away with from the second episode, actually. I think it was all the dealings with the ghostly apparitions and things of that nature. Um, Definitely has that sort of Doctor Who supernatural sci-fi thing going on. But I think that it works to the show's benefit by and large because, like you said, it's so much more unabashedly comic booky than it ever was. And that confidence to me is really telling of how much the show has grown. So it may seem a little strange and busy and eclectic, but I I'm trusting them like I have been for the past couple of seasons, and yeah, it's quite dazzling so far.
Yeah, it feels like a nice reboot for the show. Not that they
Hmm.
needed to, just it keeps the show feeling fresh and really different. There's all these like new shifting alliances within the original Shield team, where it's not that they don't trust one another. It's that they're all in drastically different positions now.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I like that they haven't just brought Daisy back into the Shield group like immediately. Like I think that's bound to happen eventually because they're family.
Right.
But that they're taking on this new thread of stories, they're letting everyone breathe away from each other for a while. It's really fun, and it gives the show a nice rejuvenated feeling.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be so much more cathartic when all of the characters do inevitably team up again, because it makes us realize exactly how invested in these relationships we are when we see them fractured and fragmented and everybody's been pulled apart, some by circumstance, others by choice. And it is really interesting because now that they're trying to bring Shield back into the public eye as an official, legitimate agency that is free of the problems of the past, we see that these other issues are arising with our core characters, like the distrust and the questioning, and there's even stuff like May's illness and her visions and craziness, and then Daisy's off playing the vigilante, and she kind of gets to team up with Ghost Rider, and it's so fascinating. I really am impressed with all the balls that they've been juggling already in these first 2 episodes. It's an impressive feat.
Yeah, like it's a lot to unpack, but in a really fun way. I do hope that we sort of narrow our focus again at some point. Like, just have a nice, quiet episode with focusing on one character, like the Simmons episode last season.
Yes.
Like that'd be fun. Just spending a whole episode with Ghost Rider or something,
And I feel like that's got to be forthcoming. At least it seems like I don't understand why they wouldn't delve into that stuff, but I'm really into Robbie Reyes so far. The actor is great. He's a really interesting character. And of course, we left off with the cliffhanger of like, oh, somehow he is maybe involved in the ghosts and what's going on there. So I think that a bunch of things are about to converge that haven't yet. So it seems kind of chaotic. But I trust that in the next maybe 2 episodes, we're going to be condensing a lot of things, and that momentum is going to propel us even further forward. So I am looking forward to / confident about that. But,
yeah. I also like the reintroduction of Yo-Yo. I like that character.
Yeah.
And they got all these Inhuman characters on the side just waiting to be used again. So, they got, like was mentioned, they got a lot of balls to juggle right now. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. But
absolutely.
Yeah, this is a good start. This is a really fun start, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I wonder if they're going to incorporate any like major villain for the season at some point, because that's kind of been like a recurring theme for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Grant Ward or Bill Paxton or Daisy's mom, I think they got a good round of villains to choose from still in the Marvel Universe. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But really strong start. I'm very interested to see where it goes. Any other thoughts?
Oh gosh, I had something in my brain. This is what happens when we go a couple weeks without. My mind just dies. Oh, I should ask you, what do you think of the visual effects with Ghost Rider? Because it's pretty cool that they're doing the full-on flaming skull aesthetic for his character. I was curious to see what you thought about that.
I love it. It's clearly a TV budget, but it doesn't. You can pull it off in a movie, I think, well enough. It's not cheap. You can tell they're really putting their budget into this, and I appreciate that, because the guy with the flaming skull, you don't have to make it look realistic. You just have to make it look cool, and it looks very cool.
It does. I'm really proud of them for not just doing like a one-off first 10 minutes of the season, like, oh, it was Ghost Rider, and then never again. It seems clear to me that they're going to continue tapping into that part of his character and really showing that and giving it what they've got. So yeah, I am very pleased with that and glad that that's the direction that they took as far as how Ghost Rider looks. It's very fierce and very fun, and I'm into it. So
yeah, and like I mentioned in the last episode, I want to see them go even more supernatural. And I knew nothing about the appearance of like actual ghosts in the show. I don't think anyone did.
Right.
So as soon as I saw that, I was like, they're doing it.
And from what I understand, I don't know where I heard this from, but it seems like the ghost-related stuff is going to tie into Doctor Strange in some way with the movie that's coming up. Which would make a lot of sense, because they've kind of done that in the past, i.e. Captain America, Winter Soldier, and stuff like that. But Yeah, so from what I understand, there are apparently certain questions that are going to be answered through the film. So, yeah, I don't know what that's going to mean for the way they break things down in the show, but it seems like there's going to be some overlap there. And
Yep. Interesting stuff. And just really quick, I want to admire how far they've come, because like the first season, there's like the standalone episode where like there's this ghostly apparition, and it's like, oh no, he's not a ghost. He's just hopping in between dimensions, because there's no such thing as
and
ghosts.
now there's actual ghosts. They're just going for it.
Progress. I love it.
Yes. Turn and face the strange.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Doctor Strange. Boom.
Whoa. I love it.
All right. Up next, Last Man on Earth. This episode is a weird ass title. It's like breasting with the side of Cobra or something.
Our
like
general breast theme with Cobra. Oh my god, which I think is in reference to the genes, the gene art that they had going on.
Oh yeah, because like when I didn't watch the episode when it aired, I watched it earlier today.
Yes, I watched it today too.
So I saw the title and I was like, what? What? I didn't even know what to make of it. It was so weird.
I saw it too, because I watched it on Hulu and I was like, oh good lord. But I think that was in direct reference to the genes that Pat made for Gale, I'm pretty sure. Because if you saw the genes that he made for her, like, it's pictures of her, like, with her cleavage just, like, boom, and snakes. So that had to be what it was. But, oh, my lord.
Yeah, Pat's weird little crush on Gale was like really creepy in like a funny way.
Oh,
the show still balances all these different like tones really well. But I led on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What did you think of this episode of Last Man on Earth?
Yeah, I was absolutely stunned, because they've had some pretty grim and macabre season openers in the past, but this one I think takes the highest body count, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There are a couple of characters who die very abrupt and violent deaths, one of whom is played by Jon Hamm, which is fun, because we had oh my gosh, who was Gale's boyfriend in the last season, who also died, I think, at the very beginning? Was it Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So I love that sort of running gag that they seem to be developing with bringing in this really big A-lister and then knocking them within like the first 5 minutes. That stuff really cracks me up. But yeah, so we get to see all of the dark intricacies of our main ensemble played out, and how everybody responds to this very dramatic situation. And of course, Phil/Tandy is the only one who sees no cause for alarm, no need for panic. He is super into the arrival of Pat and Lewis, and once again is kind of on his own island. But I love how much he has changed since even the first season, because now he's come to a point where he's overly accepting of dangerous people. And it's very endearing and charming how he and Pat hit it off, and they blow up the Santa Monica Pier together with giant missiles, and
as one does with friendship.
As one does, that's the nature of a true post-apocalyptic kinship, that special bond that you get to share in those times. But yeah, so it was really interesting to have this kind of will he, won't he dynamic with trying to figure out whether Pat really is going to try to start afresh, which the fact that he says fresh start like 12 times to Lewis before they go up to the house is like, okay, clearly this guy is gonna crack in no time. And then as soon as he finds out about Mike, then everything hits the fan, and then they go all A-Team with Mr. T and make a getaway. And so now, ostensibly, they're going to be in possibly an entirely new location. It doesn't seem like they're going to be returning necessarily, which they've done that before. So I'd be excited to see what kind of misadventures they could get into on the road. And now I feel so bad because Todd just killed somebody completely in a blind panic, which is contrasted with Melissa shooting John Hamm's character point blank. So there's going to be a lot of dealing with death in the upcoming episodes, and even Tandy is still trying to process losing Mike too. Like, he had that very tender moment when he and Pat were on the beach together, and so as far as the emotional dynamics of the upcoming episodes go, I'm very curious as to how that's going to play out. And once again, just really love how bold the show is in terms of its balance of the darkness of the post-apocalyptic world and the humor that we've come to expect with all these characters. I laughed out loud quite a bit in this episode, and I didn't realize how much I had missed this show, but I'm so grateful that it is back, because there is just something about all of these characters, about Will Forte and Kristen Shaw, that just really tickle my funny bone. So it was great to have them back. Things ended on a really big jaw-dropping note, and I have no idea what's next. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
It is so good to have this show back. In the landscape of post-apocalyptic television, I think this one might reign supreme. You know what? No, I will say, for all the ones I watch anyways, it definitely reigns supreme.
Oh yeah, this one is the best. Sorry, yeah. Walking Dead.
We're still hurting over that lame cliffhanger, so take that.
Yeah, I got some explaining to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering if they are going to uproot the show again, because I really like that location, but at the same time, a Rolling Stone gathers no moss, so if they have to drastically change the lives of the characters again, this is an interesting way of doing it. But if they did just run over him, Pat, if he's dead, then I guess they have no reason to not go back. But maybe they're just so scared and shaken up. You know, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's hard to tell at this point, but I could see it going either way, honestly. Or they go on some crazy road trip and then come back later. But I get the sense that maybe they're going to be gone for a little while. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it really felt like an awkward goodbye, like awkwardly funny. Like, oh, this is how they're going to move on. Not because they want to, but because they end up having to.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Mr. T on the keychain for the car keys. That is great. It's like all these little quirks and intricacies in the dialogue and the character interactions are just, they really help make the show sing and stand out with everything, because this could be a really boring show. There's really nothing happens often, but that's why it's so funny. You know, it's like Seinfeld in the apocalypse, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I love the gag with the eyebrows, the fake eyebrows thing.
Oh yeah, you can't tell right now, but he's very scared because he has no eyebrows.
Yes.
Yeah. And no doctors for the pregnancy. They still have Tandy's still recovering from the loss of his brother, who still might be alive, but last we saw him, wasn't in great shape. So we'll probably never see him again. That's still a really sad little note to leave him off on. And yeah, I have no idea what to expect from the show ever.
Yep.
And that's kind of the majesty of it. Forward to what comes next, because this is a really strong season premiere.
Yeah, and now that you said something that made me think about the possibility that they could run into like a doctor or someone further down the line, if they hit the road, like There's no telling what other characters they're going to encounter, and I assume that this would be the perfect time for them to grow the ensemble. Of course, now they have Lewis, but yeah, it does kind of make me wonder, since they're on a bit of a time constraint with the pregnancies and all that. So maybe this is a chance for them to kind of gather other supplies and resources and help, because we have two characters that are going to at some point be undergoing a pretty big change, and they're pretty isolated where they're at. And the last time a medical procedure was performed at that same location, it did not go down so well. So maybe this is also kind of a strategic thing, but at the same time too, it is that funny, abrupt, awkward, crazy goodbye too. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but I love it so much.
Oh, and I also want to mention that the John Hamm appearance basically makes it a Mad Men reunion for about 5 seconds.
Yes.
And that's cool, because I really like Mad Men. I still need to finish the last season, though. Sorry, everyone.
Yes, I am so far behind on Mad Men. It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, it was really funny to see him. I knew as soon as Melissa shot him, I was like, okay, who's it gonna be? Because I had a sense that was the exact gag they were pulling, and what do you know? It's very good. Very sad.
Yeah, very melodramatic. Yeah, I guess that's the word.
It was.
Yeah, and very, I wouldn't say angsty. Like, I'd use angsty for this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. so far. Like, it's way more angsty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this season much angst.
Yeah, this season of Last Man isn't angsty, just more melodramatic, a little more melancholy from this first episode, but still the same heart and spirit of the rest of the show, and looking forward to catching on the rest of the season.
Yes, as am I.
And I believe that wraps it up for us this week, Emily.
Pretty much, yeah, because next time we'll have a little debrief on Luke Cage and maybe Westworld, since that is this year.
Yes.
And in fact, this week.
I am so happy. I can't believe I didn't know, but this makes it even kind of better.
Yes. So that'll be next time.
And then on that note, Emily, where can the people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at mmightysophia. It's EM, the word mighty, SOFIA, which is also my Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. I have been super busy of late, and so I have not had the chance to review anything for a couple of weeks, I think, or at least since my last review of Penny Dreadful, but all of that should be changing soon, so you can find me at any of those places, and there's more content to come. But yeah.
All right, and you can find me, of course, on the Waffle Press on Twitter, Waffle Press Facebook, YouTube, audienceseverywhere.net with most of my writing, Dago Waffles on Twitter. Like and subscribe if you like this video. If you didn't like it, like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something you do like. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We have been professionally unprofessional.